Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Proverbs with Paul in the afternoon. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 5. Solomon writes, "Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and discover the knowledge of God." Then, so in the light of what I've just said previously, so as a result of taking on board the perspective as it relates to refining the silver, he's saying, then having done that, the hidden treasures that are within the silver, then having done that, you will understand the fear of the Lord. And the ability to understand is to have complete knowledge, complete revelation. It's the innermost being getting it and saying, yes, I now know that. And so you'll understand the fear of the Lord. And the fear of the Lord isn't something that we are afraid of, like a scared someone. It's not that God is wanting us to be, as it were, trembling in his presence because of who he is. In fact, every encounter he has with man through angelic hosts, he often brought about a sense of fearlessness. He encourages us not to be afraid. Now, the fear of the Lord is a reverence to who God is. And the only way we get a reverence to who God is, in terms of a deep level of respect, is to understand who God is by what God does. And the knowledge of what God does brings us to a place of reverence in regards to who God is. We'll only worship someone who is worthy of worship because we see that what they do is beyond anything else anyone could ever possibly do. We may get a great singer, an artist, and we're impressed by the revelation of their voice. And so we say they're a great artist, and the many that would worship pop stars, artists. But this goes far beyond that. And that sense of worship and giving oneself to adoring God in fear and reverence because you understand who he is by what he has done. And that brings a new level of knowledge regarding God. You know, the concept of knowledge is to know who God is and know what God can do. And when you understand what God can do, then all things are possible with God. There is a sense in which you're just in adoration of him because the knowledge of God is God's nature. It's knowing what God does. And then learning to do what God does is a fulfillment of that nature. And so having wisdom is taking on board the discoveries that are refined within the silver and bringing an understanding to your own heart so that you say to yourself, that's right and that's wrong. And I'm going to pursue right because wrong doesn't look like God. And I want the nature of God. And when you discover that you're in pursuit of the nature of God, then all of a sudden your whole world explodes into great joy and jubilation. See you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. Be blessed and thank you for joining me.